Well, hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Deb and this is DB Designs in Sewing Australia. Welcome to Friday Sews. My first make for the week was the Joti Duster jacket by Sew Different Sewing Patterns, and that's the Pink City collection, and that's this jacket here. Now I made the size small and I made it up in a block printed cotton from the Dahlia Sewciety. I think I had that cut out last time I was on, and it has turned out really well. I will insert photos. It's actually a very easy and a very quick make. That's the back yoke, and I did do an inside yoke as well. Now the pattern only calls for one yoke, not two, but I did do, but I didn't use the burrito method. I actually hand stitched the inside front where the yoke meets the main body. So I do enjoy hand sewing, so that's the way we did it in the old days, I think. That's the way we did it before we ever knew the burrito method existed, and really happy with it. Really happy with the choice of crafting cotton as the bands on this, and a very easy make and very nice. And in the photos I have got it on just with a white singlet and my white ash jeans. So really happy with that, and I made the size small because it's actually quite a large pattern. Now that was my first make for the week. My second make for the week was the Aurora Dress by Wardrobe by Me. So let's have a look at this pattern, be able to see the line drawings better. Now I made this version with the mandarin collar rather than the tie front, but with the, I want to say it's not sleeveless, it's just grown on sleeves, not an actual sleeve piece. And I did put the frill in the bottom. I know, it's unusual for me, but this Wardrobe by Me pattern, it actually came together really well. I made the size 12 in this, and I made this in a cotton lawn fabric that I got from the Dahlia Sewciety, and from memory, I think it was in the Frida Kahlo box. I hope that's right. It's gorgeous fabric, and I actually made it as really a dress or a caftan style dress to wear at the pool or at the beach over your swimmers or your togs, you know, over your bathers. So it has side pockets, nice pockets. As you'll see from the drawing, it actually has a front placket, and then this like front center yoke is inserted. So a placket can be quite scary for people that are new to sewing. And trust me, it doesn't always work out really well for everybody, even if you've been sewing for 50 years. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, the thing you've got to remember about plackets and about the insert, which is where there, and about the insert, it's all about accuracy. When it came to the placket, this part here, and you've got to sew down these side bits down here, but you must finish them in the identical spot at each length end. So when you're sewing down to the point, you need to make sure when you sew the other side, it's to the identical point, because you have to clip into that. And if they're not exactly level, ending in the same spot with each other, you are going to end up with a lopsided placket. So that's one thing to remember. And personally, I don't start at the top or at the bottom. I start probably 2 inches above the bottom of the placket, stitch down to a point that I have very accurately measured and marked. Make sure my machine needle is down, lift up my foot, turn the fabric and sew back down the other way. I never back stitch over it because you may not get it to be, you don't want it to be even one stitch length difference. So I think that's the key to plackets, and it's also the key to a really good insert as well. It must end in exactly the right place. So marking your fabric really, really accurately is the key to getting it right. Now, sometimes even when you've marked it correctly, think you've sewn it correctly, clipped into it, you cannot get that corner to sit really, really flat. Like mine actually worked out really, really well, but it's not to say that it always does, because it doesn't always do it. So I have come up with a way of, instead of thinking I'm going to screw this up and throw it in the bin, I'm going to cry, I hate sewing, I'm really crap at this, all the things that you think when doesn't matter how many times you've sewed it, unpicked it. And if I was to do that in a fabric like this, which is a lawn, the fabric would be ruined. So rather than do that, I'm always trying to think of a way of how could you fix that so you didn't know it was a little bit puckered and a little bit of a mess inside it. So this is what I would do. I have got a strip of fabric. Now this is not on the bias. This is actually on the grain, so that it is very, very firm. And so I've folded it in the ends, folded over the two sides, and now I've got this strip of fabric. If I needed to put it across this dress, it's hard because it's so patterned you can't see it, you could stitch that, top stitch that in place there, like that. And if it was a puckered little mess, you would not be able to see that. And in fact, that actually looks like quite a nice design feature. So, and the same could be said for doing it down in this part of the placket as well. You could make a really short one and stitch that on there over the end. So it looks like it's supposed to be there, even though it's just covering up something that might make you not wear the dress or the top because you think, it looks a bit messy. It looks like it's homemade, and I guess we're all about handmade, not homemade. So there are ways of disguising other things. Sometimes I've had to take seams in the center fronts of things because they're just so big. And it was actually, I think it's a cello top that I did that in. And I had actually made it up out of black and white linen patterned and some white linen that I had. And then it was so big in the neck and the front, and I ended up taking a seam down the middle of the front, and then I had a strip of the patterned fabric, so I just stitched that over the top, so it looked like it was supposed to be a design feature, but really it was just hiding a this is way too big for me and I've got to take it in somehow so that I can wear it. And I have worn that top. So there are multiple ways of disguising things. Sometimes things happen. If you accidentally clipped into that into the corner of that inset too much, because you've got to clip, cannot see a thing. You've actually got to clip right into the corner to get the corner. So you're stitching in a corner. Once again, the same as stitching the corner of a collar. I usually sew on 2.2. That's the length of the stitch that I use. Now everyone's machine's different because it all has different meanings for their stitch lengths. But I actually reduce it from 2.2 to 2 when I sew any corners that have to be clipped into or clipped off, i.e. the corner of a collar. And with a collar, it can also give you a much more precise point to turn at. So when you're going to have your needle down, have your foot up, and you've turned it so that you can sew down the other side of it, make sure that you're doing it on the exact mark you made with your marking tool. Hopefully either a real pen or a water erasable pen. I would not be using chalk because it's just not fine enough for me. The chalk I've got's not fine enough for me anyway for that type of thing. I do use it for other markings, but I don't use it when it comes to plackets and all that sort of thing. If I'm marking on the interfacing, I'll actually use an actual biro. So not unusual for me to do that, but when I get down near where that point has got to be, if my needle is not going to hit that point exactly, then I will lift up my foot, shift my fabric back a tiny bit so that I can get that point in exactly the right spot. So because accuracy is what is going to determine how professional your finish comes out. But that's just a bit of a tip on how you can hide any disastrous things that might happen to a placket. And actually that really doesn't look quite bad. It looks like it's supposed to be there. Actually, I think another one of the caftans, it might be under the bust that it's got that. But yeah, there's plenty of ways of hiding things. Don't just throw it in the bin because it hasn't worked out. Get it as smooth as possible. Press it as smooth as possible. Get a strip, sew it over it. Make it look like a design feature just to save your outfit. Luckily, I didn't have to do that with this dress. Really happy with this dress, really pretty. I was thinking the reason that I made this dress was because I had been supposedly hot weather's coming, so who knows. So I might get to go swimming, so I wanted something that I could put over my bathers. Don't usually make many things with a frill or a ruffle on the bottom, but this worked out really well. I actually used the gathering foot on my new overlocker to do it, and yeah, it worked out really, really well. And I did a rolled hem on my new overlocker, and I think I just used red and green thread, even though it looks like it's all red on there. Very, very happy with this dress. I was actually making it to see if I would make my beautiful fabric from the summer solstice box in it, my Nerida Hansen fabrics, but I think I have decided on another pattern for that now. So you'll just have to wait and see. I am in the middle of doing my all the dresses in my wardrobe. I think it's going to have to be more than part one because I've got 33 dresses and only 2 of them are ones I didn't make. All the rest I made. Some I need to cull, some I need to get your opinion on. Some I may be able to turn into something else. So I think I will start with the winter ones because I've got a lot less winter dresses and I can already see one I'm going to get rid of and one I'm going to change. So I'm going to get working on that because it's actually a huge amount of work. And then in between doing that, I am going to cut out my dress in the new Nerida Hansen fabric. So everybody have a wonderful week. I will talk to you all soon. Please like and subscribe. Bye.